All right, it's time to call our meeting to order. Ms. Martin, you got a roll call?
6 persons, 1 absent, we had 4.
61, budget amendments for 2025-2026, Ms. Senator. One.
We're just bringing one this evening. This one was brought up in a recent meeting, so we were wanting to take $80,000 was requested to take from the TBA impact funds for breathing apparatus packs and bottles from Stewart County Fire Rescue. That was a recommendation from the nonprofit committee that met last week.
Public safety.
Public safety. I apologize. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it was public
I went to
safety.
2 meetings. Sorry.
Do I have any motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Do I have that?
Second.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed? And we'll move on to the estimated revenue.
So we're getting into the next fiscal year's budget, 2026-2027. As always, that page 2 there, that is the statement of estimated revenues from the current property tax. There's been no increase suggested for the certified tax rate, leaving it at 1.4862. There are 6 funds, as you can see there, that tax penny is distributed out. Everybody remained exactly the same, except for I did move some pennies from the general debt service into the general capital project, since that fund is funded at 250% cash versus expenditures, which you don't need. The target is only 2 months or 15% by the state comptroller's office, but we do keep that at as you'll see in the detail, the balance is right there where it's not negative. It's right there, almost netting to 0. So, but that way we can put those extra pennies into capital projects and continue to build that up for any future needs for capital expenses in the county. Page 3, this is, that's just a snapshot there for your big, other than of course the school with BEP, this is our big revenues. You have your property tax schedules, which is a summary of what you just saw on the page before. We continue to budget with a 5% delinquency rate. That is a recommendation from the state. There were no new property taxes, as you can see. The total estimated property tax just under $8 million, and that's how it's distributed between the 6 different funds. Second one is the sales tax. That is just over the $3 million mark. The school gets the bulk of that, and then we give a portion to the general fund and the debt service fund, as shown. And the last one, that's the TBA. We're staying right around that 3.3 mark. So that is what we're budgeting, where the general fund's getting close to 2. Highway gets a small portion, and then the school gets close to 1.5.
Sales tax up.
It is. It's the last 2 months. I've seen a little bit of leveling, but you're also pulling in because you're 2 months behind. That's February and March. So those are always slow months, but we've been up according to budget. So we increased based on the 2-year projection for this year.
And
Page 4, actually right before page 4, item number 6, I do want to speak to the TCR employer contribution rate. Basically, we've been at 10.25, but it is increasing slightly for us at 11.15. That affects the general county employees, the highway employees, and then the school non-certified. Of course, teachers and certified staff are basically state rate plus which is different, but we did see a slight increase, which is budgeted throughout. We were able to absorb that pretty well, as you'll see when I get into the details, but I did want to let y'all know it has increased the costs. Then page 4 is the charitable contribution. This is a summary of the actual nonprofit committee that just met last week. These are their recommendations. As you can see in the 3rd column, I guess it's 4th column over the county, the first one showing the organization. All in total, it was $304,400. A little bit of increase from the prior year. The big changes, as you can see, were over on the far right column. The Senior Citizen Center was an increase request of $3,000 that was recommended by the committee. And we had a new one, request money this year, Man and Kappa Ministries for $10,000. And then the Fair Board requested a little bit more as they go on. We do take that Fair Board from the Tennessee River Resort monies, so that is covered through those generated revenues versus property tax. Anybody has any questions on that? Page 5, this is another sheet I show you all every year. Page 5 and page 6 section, this is your debt service. So as you can see, debt service going from 26 out to 2041, we're just under 11 million total. That number has been dropping significantly over the past few years. We have another big drop coming, as you can see, in 29-30. But right now, we're staying level for about this year and next year at a total of right around 1.7 million is what we pay in debt service. And then page 6 is just a summary so y'all can see exactly how they're budgeted throughout the year. They're pretty spaced out based on bonds, and they are shrinking as far as the different bonds and notes that we have. The biggest one that was a change was the ESI loans that we did for the school. The interest rate extremely low on those, but those are added in. You can see them in the August and the February.
Does anybody have any questions on page 1 through 6? Let's carry on.
Next is going to be let the school go first. They're on pages 7 through 23.
Sorry, John will give you a little summary of the budget. If you have any specific questions, Mr. William can answer. This budget this year we're presenting is some highlights of it. We're going to be giving all teachers, all certified staff, a $2,500 raise across the board, and that will get our, as mandated, our first year teachers, new teachers will get their salaries up to, it's supposed to be minimum 50. We've got to where it's going to be 51,000. All non-certified personnel will be getting a 5% raise. The budget, if you look at the numbers, is actually smaller than last year. That's because the innovative school model grant is no longer in our budget, and also the COPS grant that we used to purchase the weapons detection system in the high school and middle school, that won't be in the budget either. And we're not asking for any new monies, but we'll answer the question that you have.
And $2,500 coming local, that state.
We got a little bit of TISA money, $270,000 of TISA money, which is the old, what used to be the rest of it made up of local funds.
School board has passed this budget.
Yeah, unanimous.
Any other questions?
State that you this coming year. Buddy.
We're level.
But
Got the April, the other day, it was $10,000 last year.
how about students? How much are we down? For next year?
Current roll.
69.
69.
Thank you.
Cafeteria.
Yeah.
I'm just saying here. No, I don't know what it said.
You want to hit the high spots on that one?
We are given a 5% raise as well. Yes, a raise, and there's really not much change. We have to look on the food and food supplies. That's gone up quite a bit. So our budget is quite a bit from we currently have what we call CPD, community eligibility program where everybody, or all of our students receive free breakfast and free lunch. So we'll just see, I mean, we'll have to kind of gauge that. I don't know if we'll be able to offer that for the next year or not. Just wait and see where we can do this. If we look to see where our fund balance is gonna be, we're gonna be there.
Did I hear you say free breakfast, free lunch?
Right now it is, yes. It's called Community Eligibility Program. Or provision. Yeah. We get about $5 for every lunch and about $2.50 for every breakfast reimbursement, but not all of that is, some of it's a little bit less, because we have to pay students that we are paying for as well. Out of our budget, pretty much. But we've offered it for, I don't know, several years now.
I have a question.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna talk about this, education gap project.
Yeah, that's the bus fund that, got put, sales tax in. We were buying one bus out of 141, and one bus out of 177. There'll be a little money left at the end of the year, I'm assuming we've got 3 buses next year, correct? I'll put it money aside, hoping that it will be there this time next year.
All right. Anybody got questions on those? Moving on, thank you. So.
Well, it's pretty much like it was last year. We're trying to get a 3% raise. We got some impact money on there too. And, not much different than it was last year.
You said you're going at 3%?
Yeah.
Right. And we're at tractor side mounts?
Yes.
Are those just to replace some or old or? Take long wear them out, does it?
No, I've been here doing one round is over 800 miles. Try to do 5 rounds a year. Don't take long. And all you can keep your job.
Anybody have any questions for business for Heather? Where we going to pull this $250 from?
You'll see it in the capital projects, 171.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's fly in wherever you want.
Page 29 starts the general county fund 101. Throughout that, you can see as far as raises go, we are continuing with a flat 2% raise for all full-time employees, and then we're proposing a 3% raise in addition, and then all part-time people would get a flat 3% raise. So that's what is budgeted throughout. As far as I know, you'll see a increase when you look at 25-26 on both revenue and expenditures, but if you're talking our original budgeted numbers, we were only at 13.2 in revenues, where we're now budgeting at the 14, a little over on expenditures. Last year we started around 13.6, and we're budgeting 14.6. So we're seeing about a 7% increase in revenues and about a 6% increase in expenditures. So that is why your deficit fund balance, last year we were around 450,000 deficit mark. This year we're lower, around the 300,000 mark, and we did that without moving any pennies because of the increase in some of the revenues. And the department heads have done a very good job in maintaining basically same levels, other than just inflationary things like your fuel, contract increases that are cost of inflation as they go up. But overall, it's We feel it's a pretty solid budget. The only personnel change is with, the dispatch office. One of their part-time people moving that person into a full-time spot, so that instead of having 8, we have 9, is that correct? And that net effect is around 25,000. And all departments did go with the flat 2%, including sheriff's office. I know last year there were some questions on them, but everybody had agreed to the flat 2% with all their full-time employees, and then the 3% on top of that.
Where's the 3% coming in on top?
Yeah, I mean, that's budgeted in, we added that on top. So basically, a full-time person would get a 5% raise. And a part-time person will get a 3%. That's the COLA adjustment.
Any other questions? Going slow, so we can look. Still got a good fund balance, right?
We have a very healthy fund balance, yeah, 8.2 million. And I was speaking to a couple of commissioners beforehand. What's good to know is, the county is right on target. We're above target as far as what the state says, but on average for the general county 101, the average is 52% is where they see their, cash versus the expenditures to cover the year. And we're at 51% in the target, or the average, I'm sorry, is 52%. So we are right there on path with most of your counties that are now in the state of Tennessee.
It'll remind me of last year at this time, you projected us to be out of deficit.
A deficit of almost 500,000, so now we're only budgeting with a deficit. And that's where the revenues exceeded expenditures for this year when I was budgeting.
Do you think we're gonna end up with that 500,000 deficit this year?
No, as you can see, I'm already budgeted. Basically, that second column is, that second column is not the original budget. The original budget is online if anybody wants to see it, but we go through and we budget where I think much closer. I mean, I think we're probably gonna be a little bit better, but I can only start to adjust a lot of my revenues and personnel changes. I can't, department heads still have till the end of the year to spend their full budget, so I can't make an assumption that they may or may not spend their full budgets, so. But do I believe many of them may not spend every penny? Yes, and then that kicks back to our fund balance, and that's more money to make the county even healthier.
My question always is, do you are you okay with this?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I got a question, Ronnie. Oh, do you say you were giving 4% to all your employees? 3. And we're giving 5.
Well, I didn't know that. I wish I could do the 5.
Well, that's what I'm saying. For I've always tried to stand to try to be fair to all your county employees. I know you're not certified, get the 5. And I wonder, can you stand coming on up to 5%?
I'd have to talk to Karen.
Do y'all have a step at all?
Do I?
Do you do a step raise at all, Ron?
That's my question.
See, ours is different than everybody else's. We get most of our money from gas tax. So when gas goes up, we get less. So I can't give a raise. If it comes through the county, like a half a penny or something, then I can give a raise. But like out of our budget, see, we never really know exactly how much we're going to be getting. Because you never know at the end of the year how much gas people are going to buy. The higher it goes up, the more they stay.
So do you think you can stand the 5% in your budget?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Karen.
Do you know what 1% is? What that would cost, 1%?
Roughly, I'm thinking for Karen, and I'm just going off of memory, I think it's right around like 13,000.
30,000.
I'd like to do that.
I mean, you know, y'all work hard just like everybody
It
else.
would be fair.
Huh?
It would be fair.
That's that's where I'm at. And, so what can we do to try to solve this problem? What?
The conflict comes, it's not a conflict, it's y'all can figure it out. The conflict comes because most of our county now that tenders got some steps to it. And per se a raise. Our county workers are getting 3% raise.
Yeah, the part-timers only get.
They're not getting a 5%
Yeah.
raise. We're calling it a 5% raise because everybody now, including the sheriff's offices, which she's really worked on, is on that step scale where they're getting 2%. Ronnie doesn't have a step scale, and he is given the 3% raise. That's
Yeah, well,
where the imbalance is.
But by his, and he gonna equal, his man not gonna equal 5%, right?
Not as it stands,
No.
not unless, I would love to see him get 5%, but he's over.
Well, what I'm saying, all the other county employees get 5, and he goes back out there and says, boy, y'all don't get 3. You know,
When our part-timers only get 3.
yeah, I understand that.
But it's hard for people to understand our money is different than the school money and everybody else. So if I get a raise, it comes out of my payment money. And where theirs comes from, theirs. I'd love to get all we could, but that means we could get ours from a king. I don't know what it would work out. That's,
Ronnie, do you give true
Yeah.
3% or do you average like Jerry used to do?
I try to average 3, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 2,
So the top and the bottom gets about the same.
do
The top and the bottom gets about the same.
53,258. So I
We could shift that out of 177.
Yeah, 177 is where our extra pennies are to build that up, like, somebody asked, I'm sorry, 171. Somebody asked, explain where the 250,000 for his capital expense, so we're pulling that from 171, so we could certainly
And you
shift
wasn't,
a penny.
you wasn't aware that everybody gonna get 5%?
Karen was aware, she usually just does the COLA like we do, because we already have a flat, fixed step scale.
it went up 6.
Is that something you'd be interested in doing in the future, putting on step, that way you kind of can find out what you're gonna be, like, find out what they're gonna be?
He's put on a lot of different pay scales to start with, that is
Yeah.
operator.
Operators, you'd be pretty confident.
53,000.
It'll be more than a half of step. A lot more. To add them, if you do a penny in for 53,000, it's gonna be a little bit more than what. But that also may help next year when we run into another paving crisis. I mean, just thinking outside the box. Might be one less time you have to, we've addressed that 3 times this year.
I'll make a motion to give him a penny, water raising, so he not to take it out of his money. Is that what you be saying?
So we'd shift 53,258 over from Fund 171 over to Fund 131, and that's like the budget.
And that may come out of, the general fund.
Not no general fund, capital projects.
Yeah,
but-
I'll
second You made a motion,
I
I
made
second.
a motion.
Thank you.
Everybody in favor of that?
Absolutely.
Any opposed?
I believe our fund balance is pretty hefty week. We can have it. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Now we're here.
It changes.
We could take that out. Did you? I said 177. He almost fell out.
No, I didn't say
Bus drivers need to go on those roads too, y'all.
We don't need roads.
I see Chris. He went,
171.
Okay, does anybody got any more questions on the motion?
Before, are you getting ready to return?
No.
I was about to say.
Did he get rid of it?
I know, I was gonna say that,
I won't go back.
before you take off, we come back.
I got 4 more.
You had that look about you, I've seen it before.
Getting close. Drug.
Drug control fund, that's pretty status quo, basically, drug control fund, is where the sheriff has certain expenses that he spends, mainly in like law enforcement equipment, animal food supplies. We try to take any of the canine dogs that are being used for drug detection. Most expenses we pull from the drug fund. So as you can see, revenues, we're budgeting about 20,000, and the expenditures, 26,000, leaving it with still a minimal fund balance, that will meet the state requirements for them.
Anybody got a question on that? Good special revenue.
This is the one that y'all just closed up, at the last April session. The resolution was passed for it to shut down on April 30th. That was the one during COVID that started up for the ARPA funds and the LATCF for, local tribal assistance funds. So that has been spent out in full. It was just the interest that was shifted over, and that's why it's 0 on the last one. We finally have used them all up. Yes, sir.
Debt service.
Debt service, as you saw earlier in the beginning of the meeting, you saw the debt service that we have. Like I said, it's roughly 1.7 million. The revenues that are coming in, I basically shifted, like I said, a few pennies over to Fund 171 so that we're keeping the revenues at 1.7, the expenditures to match at 1.7, and leaving that fund balance basically exactly the same as it is in the current year at just above 4 million. And with 4 million, that's where I'm saying it can cover all the expenditures without a penny going in revenue-wise.
Any question on debt service? Hearing none. Okay, capital projects funds, everyone?
Yes, sir. Capital projects funds, this is where we're continuing to give that money. It was about 108,556 or something. I did round it this year, just to make it 110 even, going to the sheriff's office, and 110,000 going to the EMS. That's what they're using to maintain the rotation of vehicles. And the other change in there, you will see on the very last page, row 56, there's that 250,000 that we're funding the highway for those 2 vehicles that they're requesting. With that, we're still increasing our fund balance. Now, of course, that fund balance of 1,154,535, take that down, that 53,000 and change. That you all recommended, I'll move that out.
1.1.
Yes, exactly. So it'll be just over 1.1 million. Which is, so it's, as you can see, the last 3 years, it's been moving upward.
Looks good. Any questions on it? My package. Do I have a motion to approve this?
Yes, sir.
What page you on, page 40? And the school resource officer.
Oh, yes. Let me explain that. So the SRO safety grant is my favorite grant, and I'm being sarcastic. It is very particular. So it's not just that they give us a flat 300,000; they give us 75,000 per school. That 75,000 can only be spent on that very specific school. So when the grant started, they didn't have the rules set up. Now they've got all the rules. Now they just implemented this year what they call a quarterly reporting. So we have to give them exact numbers every quarter where we think we are. So I created that cost center that you're seeing, that 14. You'll see that over and over. If you counted up all the line items that have the dash 14 and the objects, that's going to total 300,000, which is the 4 schools. But keep in mind what we do is, I can't get into HIPAA laws, but if you have, for example, an officer that has full benefits and an officer that does not have full benefits, that can be a $20,000 difference. So then in that particular school, you may have to spend an extra 20,000, whether that be buying a car, but you cannot buy something that is shared between the other 3 schools. The state does not allow it, which is crazy to me.
pretty bad.
Yeah, but that is the rule, so that's where we have to. Yes, so that's why I say it's a fun grant. But basically, we look at it, we try to obviously put all payroll and benefits, and then we'll look at it at the end of the year and we'll buy law enforcement equipment. We did buy a vehicle in the prior year, so that kind of thing where we spend that money to make sure that we spend every penny that we can in that grant. Yes, sir.
Forward within the insurance, it looks like $1,000 decrease for 26.
For which one? Is that,
205.
I mean, is that, well, I'm sorry, is that, are you saying sheriff's office or jail? Sheriff's office.
Line 695.
And, yes, but if you look at 20514, that's the SROs. So if you add those 2 numbers together, that's totaling, 216,000. They did have, yeah, they still had a decrease in the sheriff's office slightly. That's just when we budget, we try to budget exactly where we are every year, because after the first of the year, you'll have what's called annual enrollment, and most people are familiar with that. And we have a lot of changes going on with people getting married, people getting divorced, people having children aging out 26. So it's constantly moving. So they just were lucky enough to have a decrease this year.
I got a question for Greg, okay? On your vehicle fund, I know ambulances have went up dramatically in the last 2-3 years. How much?
36% total.
So just, I mean, is that 110, is that gonna keep us on track or no?
Not in the years to come. A new ambulance today is around 300-something thousand. A remounted ambulance, which we do most of the time, is 170s to 180s. Prior to COVID, we were paying 80 to 90,000 for remount, and 150 or 160 for a brand new truck. So I don't know if that answers your question. Those figures I just give you basically, we're buying every other year. We're either buying or remounting every other year.
So you'll have 220 in there
Right.
every other year.
That will get a remount though, it's time, but it won't purchase new. Yeah, but our boxes are still very reasonable. We're
But
safe.
it probably is something we need to be thinking about.
Absolutely, down the road, hopefully somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
And that is where we're putting all those pennies there, so that as we see increases, that might be something that we need to address, each year where we might do that up a little bit.
Anything else?
That's better than your guys.
No, sir, not what I said. I said there were no personnel changes other than the one I mentioned. Everybody has the same staffing. I mean, part-time can fluctuate, but part-time is part-time. They have a flat
I
budget.
mean, how many part-time employees do we have?
Well, I mean, if you get into election workers, if I discount election workers, because that's different.
Temporary.
Yeah, you go anywhere from 30 to 50, just depending. I mean, the EMS, he may have 3 part-time, or he may have 6. I mean, just depending on if he can get, or more than that sometimes. But the part-time budgets, same with the sheriff, they're given a certain amount, they have to stay within that amount.
Okay, motion to approve this and send it to the full court.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any questions? We're going further.
Well, Mr. Cooper's not here, so there's not.
Okay, all in favor, say all
Listen, sorry, I just said that in front of you.
Mr. Cooper called and had a major well problem today, so he was not happy he could not be here, because, y'all know he would have some entertaining questions.
Now then, discussion of any other budget items?
And one item, we do have 2 future budget meetings next week, so we would need a motion to cancel those if we're not gonna meet again.
Motion to cancel. Second. All in favor, say aye. Next week's meeting canceled.
So, this could be a lot of our last budgets, a lot of us officials, so just thank y'all for, all the hard work y'all put in. I had a goal 4 years ago, cutting this deficit in half and raising, our income, and you guys have done just that. This one over here is a machine, long after I'm gone, y'all better keep paying her and paying her and paying her. I hope I don't go anywhere, I hope I'm here for 4 more years, but after that.
I would think.
This budget is a lot of her. She knows I'm bouncing around the county all day today. She would call and say, come in here, and she would either say, what do you think? Or she would fuss at me, and both of those were okay. I didn't mind either one of those, but, we made a pretty good team last 4 years, and I'm proud of this budget. It's literally half of what it was deficit wise. And we still have a ways to go. That's the good thing. We do have some purchases coming up that we're experimenting with right now that we're gonna have to make, and moves that we're gonna have to make as a county, especially in emergency services. But, this budget right here is good one. And the officials too, a lot of them have bucked it down too. It's a team effort.
Team effort.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Which stand adjourned.
Thank you.